Where will Swiss corporate taxes go? Let's find out with an international tax expert, Xavier Oberson. Xavier, the corporate tax reform did not pass last month. What do you think happened?
Yes, I think it didn't pass because of various reasons. The first one is that the opponent of this reform made a very efficient campaign, actually, and it was difficult to overcome this feeling among the people that if you lower the corporate tax, why don't you then need to raise the income tax? So many people feared actually that they would have to pay for this reform, which is not accurate, but it's very difficult from an economic standpoint to explain that. Second aspect is that this reform is very complex. We have added specific rules, sometimes we call them gimmicks, like notional interest deduction, which is an hypothetical interest deduction. I mean, to explain that is very difficult, and other mechanisms such as the patent box. So the combination of all these factors made that the people at the end, they said, majority, we don't want that.
Okay, now that it didn't pass, what are the next steps? Is there going to be another vote? Is there going to be a compromise between the left and the right? How are we going to move forward?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is the big question. First of all, what I want to say is that we don't have the choice. We have to move forward because there was a political commitment from Switzerland towards the EU and towards the OECD to modify our corporate taxation in some aspect. So this we have to do. So I would say a tax reform is almost compulsory. I mean, we have to do it.
Yes.
That's the first point. Now the second question is how.
Exactly.
And this is the big difficulty. There's some basic ideas which are already on the table. One would be to say, okay, we still go down, we reduce the corporate tax because this is the global trend in the world, and we don't want these companies to go away, to leave Switzerland or to leave Geneva. So the first aspect, I think, is almost agreed, but of course some people now say it should not be 14 or 13, it should be maybe 15 or 16. So this is one compromise. And I think the other aspect will focus on some of these gimmicks, as I mentioned before, will disappear. I think the notional interest system is dead. Nobody wants to bring it back. It's very clear to me. Then maybe we come back also with a patent box, but a more restricted one. And the last key question of this big negotiation that will take place is how much from the Confederation proceed would be given to the cantons to alleviate a little bit the cost of this reform.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you take a patent box, for example, don't we need to stay competitive with other parts of the world? If Ireland, France, Luxembourg, US, if they all offer patent boxes and we don't, or restrict it too much, then the corporations will leave even if the global corporate tax rate does decrease.
Yes.
So how do we work around that?
Absolutely. This would have to be a sort of Swiss compromise. Maybe one approach to that is that each canton is different. For example, Geneva, we have a lot of trading companies, financial banks. Maybe in Basel, they have more companies that would need this patent box, and Zurich is again something different. So one solution, which was in fact proposed and finally didn't make it, would be to say we should leave a lot of space to the cantons to have options to do this or that. So then every canton can find its proper solution. For example, Geneva, we don't need so much this patent box. We don't need at all the notional interest, and we were against it. So if we leave more space to the canton, we can maybe find a compromise.
So when would the next potential votation occur?
So in fact, if we have a proper compromise, maybe there's not even going to be a vote, because if the political parties, including the left, accept, then they may not ask for a referendum, and it could pass very quickly. So we may end up in a very positive way at the end.
That would be ideal, because votations are very difficult.
Yes, especially in the tax area.
And unpredictable.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're right. Well, Xavier, thank you so much for your time today. On behalf of Dukascopy TV and AIC TV, my name is Ed Schneider, and thank you for joining us today.